Best uniforms in college football. Worst program in the sport, especially considering the circumstances and the resources. Welcome into the Voice of College Football. Appreciate you stopping by for the best in discussion, debate, and analysis. Please like and subscribe. I have said it for years. I am fascinated by UCLA football. Fascinated, but also perplexed. Why does UCLA not win in football? Won national championship way back in 1954. Last time they won a conference championship, the Pac-10 at the time, in 1998. That was the last time they went to a major bowl game, won a major bowl game the previous season. For the last 25 plus years, UCLA football generally in the abyss. Jim Mora took them to a top 10 finish in 2014, the school's last. Then the last ranked team in the final AP poll, courtesy Chip Kelly and Dorian Thompson-Robinson in 2022. Deshaun Foster has lost his job. He should have never been hired. I am on record as saying that over and over and over and over. I was completely flabbergasted at the hire. Deshaun Foster has never been a head football coach anywhere. Deshaun Foster has never been a coordinator anywhere, let alone in college, let alone at this level, let alone in the Big Ten. But he was gifted this program as an all-time great at UCLA. Great running back, excellent NFL running back, even a good running back coach. However, he is not prepared to be a coach leading a program at this level, and that was plain for all of us to see. And why UCLA took that gamble, I truly don't know, except that they were possibly trying to go the cheap route. They only have a $6 million buyout of Deshaun Foster's contract. That tells us a lot right there. They were trying to take advantage of the Big Ten situation, gather in the money, but not necessarily go out and get a top flight coach. And that was one of my questions about UCLA football entering the Big Ten. Would UCLA just kind of hang on to the coat strings of USC, be one of the four entered from the West Coast, and take a butt kicking? Because UCLA football has not been good largely for the past 25 years. So would they get kicked around in the Big Ten and just take the paycheck? Or would they show some pride? Show some pride and say, we know what we're getting into from a football standpoint. We don't want to be embarrassed. We want to bring UCLA football up to a competitive status in the Big Ten. We're going to pour money into it, resources. We're going to go get a good head coach, and we're going to make this thing go. We're not going to be pathetic. We are not going to be second fiddle in this town, as has been our football history. Well, their first initial decisions would lead us to the former. They have gotten kicked around, and they did make a poor hire. And that was obvious for all of us to see, even though I said I cannot look into the future and see if Deshaun Foster is possibly just one of those guys that is just a lightning rod, and he has just got the it factor, and despite his inexperience, is going to take UCLA football to new heights. But that obviously didn't turn out to be the case, and the risk-reward was not worth it. That's clear. UCLA football, horrible under Deshaun Foster. I know on the surface, in and of itself, it didn't mean much, but Deshaun Foster's grand arrival on the national stage for UCLA football as the head coach at Big Ten Media Days in 2024 told us something. And I stated this at the time. I said, this could be an indicator. I don't know if it's going to play out this way because this is not about head coaching a football team and leading an organization. However, in many ways, it gives us indication. Deshaun Foster was overwhelmed. He was nervous. He had nothing to say, nothing to present. He did not in any way communicate a vision, a plan, an organization, any thought process at all. He actually showed that he was not even aware of the situation traveling from Los Angeles to Indianapolis for Big Ten Media Days, that he understood the gravity of the situation and the importance of displaying UCLA football and himself as a new head coach in the proper light. It was rather disturbing. It was comical, and I somewhat dismissed it, although they got off to a horrible start. They came on down the stretch. They took Minnesota to the wire. Decent football team at the Rose Bowl. Lost in the final 10 seconds. Then they knocked off Rutgers. and Iowa and Nebraska. They won 4 of the final 5, and I thought maybe UCLA's got something going under Deshaun Foster, and maybe he's learning something, he's developing, he's growing as a head coach before our eyes. Then this season hit, and we knew it was going to be a difficult run for the UCLA football team against this schedule, but they haven't hit the schedule yet. They played Utah at the Rose Bowl to open the season. They were blown out. They were pathetic. They lost by 27 points. Then they took on UNLV, who had just struggled against an FCS opponent. They lost that game against UNLV. They have yet to hit the Big Ten schedule, and even despite those 2 efforts, Vegas still declared UCLA a 15.5-point favorite against New Mexico. Vegas was off by 40-plus points. UCLA was driven into the ground by a New Mexico team. New Mexico. This should not happen. UCLA should be able to just throw athletes out onto the field that are half motivated, half organized, and still defeat New Mexico. It reminds me of the time when Jim Mora took the job back about 10 plus years ago and said, I took over UCLA football. I couldn't believe it. There were guys that would skip practice. Practice was somewhat optional. We had guys that would leave in the middle of practice at a major college football program. That has been UCLA. That is how much UCLA has cared about winning football, about being competitive. Well, they've got a brand new start. Somebody is showing us in the UCLA administration that they care enough that they realize the embarrassment of an empty Rose Bowl, that they understand the embarrassment of getting not just kicked around in the Big Ten, that is yet to happen, getting kicked around by the likes of New Mexico. UCLA, this is your wake-up call. This is the time to take rock bottom and start to build. You've got Big Ten resources. We talked about the advantages at UCLA and my perplexed state of UCLA football, and it has to do with location, the size of the school, the prestige of the school. It's an excellent academic school located where tons of athletes should want to play, be drawn to Southern California. And on top of that, the in-state recruiting. They've got athletes right there. This is not Nebraska where they've got to go 500 to 1,000 miles to get athletes. They're right there in their backyard. UCLA, this is your wake-up call. You've taken the first step. Now, make a wise decision. Make a good decision. You say it's a national search. We'll go execute. We appreciate you being here at the Voice of College Football. Leave your comments and questions down below, including who may be the next head coach at UCLA.